Welcome to episode 128 of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and this week I am joined by Brian. We are two artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and all-round shit talkers, and each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you through Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify, and we talk about it. We're going to watch it, we're going to talk about it. This week we are aiming to talk about the anime film Vampire Hunter D, as well as all of the usual nerd news and film news and life goings on that we can think to talk about. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, heading over to iTunes, heading over to Spotify, rating, reviewing, liking, subscribing. All of those good things really help us out. On top of that, we're over on Instagram at The Endless Cast, where we put up artwork and clips to go with each episode. That's a great place to shoot us a message, suggest something for us to watch, disagree with our opinions, give us some of your own. You can do that over there. Or you can send us an email at theendlesscast@gmail.com. All of that being said, let's get into the episode. Deep in the depths of October. Kevin can't be with us today. He's visiting his parents. He's a very good boy. Good boy, Kev.
He's the goodest boy.
Low energy week for me. Haven't got up to much.
Same.
Took a break for the gym for a week. I want to make that sound like that was like a choice as opposed to like I just couldn't fucking get myself up and go. And I ate poorly. But next week I'm gonna fix that shit. Gonna fix that shit.
I did the same, but in like a 3-day period. I went Monday to Thursday, and then on Friday I was just like, I just can't. I cannot. Not physically tired, just it's like I can't be bothered. I'm not doing this. And then I had a Tim Tam on Friday, and then I had all the chocolate yesterday. I'm eating chocolate now, and I don't care. Because I'm going back to the gym tomorrow. So
That's it.
Ain't no thing.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Ain't no thing.
Not a sprint.
So
there's a lot of like improv stuff going on at the moment. Like I've got someone feeding me news from like an improv festival going on in Edinburgh, which sounds like a blast. Meanwhile, there's a thing called Gather Improv going on at the moment, which is somebody in the improv community owns a B&B, and they do weddings. Like there's a wedding venue basically, but they run like a weekend once a year called Gather, which is just a whole improv festival, and the community goes and glamps and just does workshops and shows, and I'm seeing social media stuff, and basically I've FOMO on Two Nations, or in Two Nations right now.
nice.
Yeah,
That's the best way to be.
yeah, just
Full of regret.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good system.
Who doesn't love regret?
I'm doing a fairly significant clean out and clear out. There's a lot of that going on in the house. Lots of runs to charity shops. See, that sounds useful, right? I'm doing things. Lots of.
You're also a good boy.
Thank you so much. Like I try to be productive through things. Like I applied for a bunch of jobs, but like they're all jobs I know I don't fucking stand a chance of getting feedback or a response on, and like a couple of jobs where I'm like, I'm completely qualified for this. I get a response back that's just a flat no, and it's like, like what even is hiring? You know,
What even is work? Work is
what even
bullshit.
is
Work is such bullshit. I get up at 5. I go to the gym. I'm there for an hour. I come home. I shower. I have breakfast. I go to work at 9 till 5. I come home. I walk the dog. I have dinner. I go to bed at 9 so I can get up at 5. That's my week. And I work a great job with puppies. And it's bullshit. Like, what is work? Can we figure that out?
That's why I said I am listening to that podcast with Jimmy Carr, because I woke up this morning and saw a TikTok with Jimmy Carr getting interviewed, and I'm like, oh, that exists somewhere. And he genuinely, like, he does, from the sales background to the marketing background to the self-help stuff he's done himself. When he gets on a podcast, he actually is like, he's one of these self-help gurus. Really, he's just tiered toward comedy, and I just do like hearing him talk. You know, he's really positive and inspiring about it. It's a lot of I don't know, fortune cookie quotes half the time, but you know, if I'm slightly bummed out,
that stuff
they
works.
lift me up.
That stuff works. It's the same as fucking self-affirmations in the mirror. They work.
Yeah.
Nobody does them because they work. But sometimes you just need to surround yourself with that stuff until it seeps in. And that's why cults are so powerful as well, you know. But excuse me.
So
I've had a cough for over a month now.
oof.
And it's just,
What do you need for that? Antibiotics, or
I don't maybe. I don't know.
have you just got
Going
a chest
nowhere.
infection or something?
No, it'd be worse if it was a chest infection.
Oh.
But I'm just stuffed up, and then there's this tickling at the back of my throat, and it's almost become reflexive now.
Oh.
I'm like, did I really need to cough there? It's like I did, I think, but sometimes I'm just coughing because it's almost like become a tick now. I feel I'm over it, and yet I'm not over it. But I'd like to move on now. No more coughing.
No more coughing. Cool. It was funny, the last episode I was editing, you were coughing, and it is funny that it's like 10 minutes before the end, you go, Aidan's going to have to edit out so much coughing, and I was just like, I have been editing out so much coughing. But it wasn't a bother, do you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, there he is. Okay, this week, was there any exciting news? Anything excite you? I don't know. I mean, we talked a little bit about the idea that Nolan's in talks or discussing or floating ideas. Like, I don't know how much of it's him or how much of it's publicist creating a notion or how much or whatever, but to do Bond movies. But it just keeps them, I don't know, keeps a conversation going. Keeps his name in headlines, I guess, a bit as he settles out from Oppenheimer. You know, like, there's a long enough timeline and production of films. Got to keep the name up. I tell you, I did go and see The Creator.
I won't go see it, but I'd watch it. There's not a lot of stuff I'd go see right now.
I'll say this for it. All right, it is. I was glad to see it on a big screen. It is visually breathtaking in many places, especially towards the end. There are some big, beautiful shots that I'm glad I saw at that scale. But I was basically bored throughout the film. And I thought that there were elements that were just like overcomplicating notions. I fell asleep, and I could honestly not tell you if I fell asleep for 5 minutes or 25. I honestly don't know. And that's not a great way to review a movie, and maybe I'm not giving you a review of a movie right now. They got to a village, I think. I woke up, and there was a fucking clockwork robot walking towards them that exploded. It kept getting broken. They broke it into chapters. The boy, the man, the robot. Like they broke it up. Like, I don't think they needed to do that. I think that's a shorthand sometimes for like a feeling that you want your film to have, but it doesn't necessarily have it. You know, it didn't have the feeling of a film that's like broken into significant chapters. Just this is a road film. This is a journey, point A to point B, get into a destination. The kid that can destroy the piece of military equipment has to get to the piece of military equipment by the end of this film. And I just got bored and I fell asleep. And I really shouldn't have, because it's gorgeous, and I didn't realize that, like, this has to be the writer's strike, meaning that they can't promote it. Because I didn't realize, I knew, Washington, John David Washington, what's his name? John David?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I knew he was in it, and I knew Ken Watanabe was in it, because he's pretty heavily featured with that, like, AI, or that robot vibe he has. But I didn't quite take in Alison Janney. I didn't take in Gemma Chan were in it. I didn't quite take in who the director was. But when you look at the posters and the marketing and the sides of the buses, the only thing they can say on it is from the director of Rogue One. And that's all that's listed. And I think that's writer's strike, right? They couldn't put names on it.
Presumably, yeah.
Because it's a bit weird otherwise. Yeah. Like, at the start of the movie, this is no way spoilers, this is just the start of the movie. they established that AI, like a humanoid functioning thinking AI, has worked its way into the workforce. It's a second tier citizenry moving towards a sort of civil rights end of things. And something goes wrong and a nuclear bomb goes off and LA gets decimated. And they blame the AI and they outlaw the AI in America. Basically, yeah. And they declare war on AI from America. But the rest of the world is kind of like, yeah, we don't really have a problem with them. We think this was something else. So Asia is a place where New Asia, as it's called, I don't know why, becomes like a place where AI citizenry live hand in hand with people or regular biological human. And somebody just said, you know, it's. I saw somebody say it's the Vietnam War with, like drone strikes, and that's the story. We meet John David Washington living in a like beach hut with Gemma Chan as his pregnant wife, and an American strike force comes and raids them. She dies. Turns out he was an undercover agent for America. Like, by the time you're doing that, I'm already like, this is too complicated already. Why is he an undercover agent for America rather than just a citizen? I don't know. I guess it's so they can get to their Rambo moment and pull him out of retirement and send him back into the jungle at a later date to search for. It's just too many steps. But I don't know. I don't hate I like everything in it. It just didn't come together.
Didn't come together.
Yeah, and I mean it's like clearly working with Simon Stalenhag, Tales from the Loop. Like I keep going on about how much I love that style, that art thing. Like I'm going through folders of old photos I took, and I've got like reference shots I took of like the west of Ireland landscape when I was out hiking one time, and I'm just like, how cool would like Tales from the Loop style imagery be here? And that was before Tales from the Loop. That was just when like Stalenhag was like a little bit of a web presence as an artist. It was just like, hey, there's this Scandinavian guy doing cool art, and I was like, cool. I had an idea to do a short, but you know, he's gone so mainstream at this point. It's like, yep, he's just part of the visual language now. So I say Stalenhagish, but like it could be any concept artist at this point. I don't know. Ultimately, this is not, unfortunately, not a great review for this film. I don't know, middling. $80 million budget though. Somebody pointed out the budget of The Flash. Like the CG is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, reshoots and delaying stuff will
inflate your budget,
balloon a budget. Yeah, and then marketing. Marketing now costs as much as the film.
Yeah,
which is insane. Yeah. That's bonkers.
Yeah. It'll kill the viability of a film if you've got to make double your budget back before you're in profit. We watched Nomads last week. I don't know if you watched any of that. I don't know if you listened to the review of it. It was very funny, the conversation. It is funny when Kevin is just so annoyed that he had to watch it. He's just like, why did you...
It's bad when Kev doesn't like something.
Why did you make me do this? I stayed up till 1:30 a.m. watching this thing. It's ropey. He did have an interesting...
Marla. Keep quiet.
He did have an interesting point where Kev's Trivia Corner brought up that Schwarzenegger saw this film and liked the tone and the tension and advocated for him to be the director on Predator. That's interesting. I don't know if that's the entire picture there, but you watch this film and go, how did this guy's career balloon off of this quite ropey first attempt? Do you know any more about McTiernan than I do? Because that's his first film, but I have no sense of like, what was he doing before that? Because I don't see listings of TV or anything, and it's like, how does a man in his 30s just get a budget and Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan wouldn't have been a huge star then, really.
Like Remington Steele was 4 years in.
Yeah, but it wasn't a huge hit.
Was it not? 5 seasons?
That means it was kind of under the radar, though,
You think?
doesn't it?
Off the back of that, though, I did download Remington Steele.
Why?
You ever watched any of that?
Yeah, loads of it.
Because I never saw it.
Oh,
Do you watch loads of it?
I've
5 seasons.
seen loads of it, yeah, because it was on TV.
I don't remember. Like I saw one episode of it, and nope. I just realized I didn't see one episode of it. The episode of it I'm thinking of is actually an episode of the New Avengers. So I've not seen any episodes of it,
Yeah.
or I don't remember.
You don't
any
need to,
episodes of
really, because
it. Well, I watched the first 20 minutes of the pilot, and like pilots are never the strongest thing. But it's like, I didn't realize there was a whole like
the rest of the series.
Okay. I didn't realize that there was a whole conceit around like the female lead started the detective agency and Remington Steele doesn't exist. As I go on with this, actually, I didn't finish the episode. I then assumed that he just starts pretending to be Remington Steele. Is that what happens? Or does he just work at the Remington Steele detective agency and there's no Remington Steele?
I don't remember.
Does he start going by Remington Steele?
I don't remember.
I should watch the rest of that episode.
I was pretty young when it was on TV. I just remember thinking, that's a very handsome man. What a great name he has. Because I thought his name was Remington Steele for a while. But I also knew his name was Pierce Brosnan. I thought people could just be like two entities. Because why not?
Yeah. I'd say this for the man, he can wear a suit.
Can he, though? I mean, can't he? Because, yes, he can.
Okay, I
Yes,
thought you were like, can he?
Yeah, no, he can.
I think his entire career is based on wearing a suit. Really.
And being extremely
gorgeous.
good looking. He was a very pretty man.
The final shot of Nomads. I said it in the last episode. The final shot of Nomads is Pierce Brosnan's face, and I swear to God, he'd never look better. He's a good looking man. It's a good moment. He has this little like pose for a photo moment, and he looks great.
Imagine looking like Pierce Brosnan. Wouldn't that be something?
I also am continuing my almost annual rewatch of The West Wing. So I got to sort of towards the end of my West Wing thing, and I realized I don't own Studio 60, and I've never seen Sports Night. And I was like, let's see what these are. So I downloaded some Sports Night, and I watched the first episode, and picture an SNL spoof of the newsroom.
I've watched
it. Was
it.
set in a sports.
You've
watched it?
Yeah, many times.
Well, for the listener, picture an SNL spoof of the newsroom set in a sports news environment, and they're trying to convince you that somebody running quickly is as inspirational and jaw-dropping as whatever like earth-shattering news had happened that week. You know, like I think the first pilot of the newsroom, they're dealing with Deepwater Horizon, and it's, you know, all very moving, and they get into whatever the hell else, like the senator, congresswoman that got attempted assassination, like stuff they cover in the newsroom that they make very emotive, and they show you the intent and to a degree the importance of a reliable news source or journalistic integrity. But trying to see the guy from The Good Wife selling how inspirational it is to see somebody run fast. It's, I don't know, it's very hard to take seriously. Also, laugh track, like it's a sitcom. It's longer than a sitcom runtime. Maybe that's the case of the pilot. But it's longer than a sitcom runtime. And it's got a laugh track, which is kind of hard to watch. It's kind of hard to take seriously.
It's jarring. Yeah.
When it's trying to be like crazy sincere and make you take it seriously. Like when it's funny, it's kind of funny. It's a sitcom from the fucking 90s. But
yep.
It's the saccharine.
I remember
sincerity.
liking it.
Okay. I'll stick with it. So I trust your taste. If it's got the
No, like
seal
I
of
said,
approval.
I remember liking it. And, Sorkin has not, or Sorkin's material at least, hasn't aged well. It's better than The Newsroom, I would say, for sure. It's better than Studio 60.
Better than the newsroom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Better than Studio 60 or better than the newsroom?
Both,
Huh.
I would
Because
say.
I like the newsroom. Okay.
What are the odds of? I mean, it happens all the time, really. It's just funny that there's a Tina Fey show doing a Saturday Night Live spoof and a Tina Fey show that is, set in a newsroom. And then Sorkin had the same thing. And Tina Fey shows better both times. Good News is great.
What's the Tina Fey? Good News.
Good News is great. It's a great show. It's very funny. It's fantastic. It's not as good as 30 Rock. It's not. It's nowhere near 30 Rock.
I honestly feel like in having this conversation, I don't disagree with you that Good News is great, but I think we have to tell people what Good News is.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to do that in Newsroom. It got buried. It was a Netflix show, right? It was off the back of 30 Rock. She signed a deal with Netflix. That's where we got Kimmy Schmidt as well.
I know it was initially NBC, and then they dropped it, and then Netflix picked it up. So Kimmy Schmidt, anyway, at least was supposed to be an NBC show, and NBC somewhere along the way, I don't know if it was mid-production or something, ditched it, and Netflix picked it up. And I think something similar, I think, happened with Good News, possibly. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But
Good News is a fun show. Yeah,
it's a good show.
I mean, is it Nicole Richie?
Yeah, it's got a very funny cast. Like everybody in it is so.
I didn't rate Nicole Richie as anything. I just had her as like a reality TV star from the early 2000s, and I was watching this show going, "This woman's really fucking funny." Good job. Adam Campbell as the like love interest guy, the daddy's boy. Is that Good News?
I think that's
I'm getting that mixed
Kimmy
up
Schmidt,
with Kimmy Schmidt.
But he plays a very similar.
Is that the same actor?
Same actor though, yeah.
What a silly fucking character.
He's sort of like David Hyde Pierce mixed with who else? He's got that kind of energy. David Hyde Pierce and someone else.
David Hyde Pierce, but like he's got like
David Hyde Pierce, but British.
But it's David Hyde Pierce.
David Spade.
Hugh Grant. But there's a little like you fit the need for a leading man that we have.
Yeah.
That we now want to make fun of leading men.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's good looking enough to be like, leading man.
But he's also a bit David
Goofy
Spade.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. Bit David Spade, bit David Hyde Pierce.
Yeah.
Good News is good. And now I want to go watch Good News.
I've watched it at least 3 times, I think. Never makes me laugh quite the way that 30 Rock did. 30 Rock cracked me up. I was randomly laughing. I can't even remember how it popped into my head. The Darmine Doggy Door sketch in I Think You Should Leave. I don't know how it popped into my head, but somebody was talking to me at work and some part of it popped into my head and I just started laughing. And they were like, I haven't seen you laugh in a while. And I was like, what are you laughing at? I was like, it would take far too long to explain and it just wouldn't be funny. But you know that sketch?
Darmine Doggy Door. I'm Googling it.
Yeah, man.
I have it.
It speaks to my soul. Like it just You thought you were going to get eaten and your first thought is you don't have to go to work tomorrow. You haven't seen it. Oh my god. Oh. All right, let's talk about that after you've seen it. It's a masterpiece of a sketch. It's so funny. I'm just gonna talk for a bit while. Aiden's face is stunned silence, much like the face of the character in the sketch.
It's so fucking.
Oh. Aiden is wiping tears
Swing
from
dancer
his
at a
face.
wedding.
You haven't seen it, no? Definitely.
I don't. Sorry, I've paused it now.
That part is so fucking funny.
It never ceases to amaze me. It never ceases to amaze me how Tim Robinson is able to make 2 minutes feel like an hour. Yeah. It's like it's a short sketch. It's 2 minutes, but there's so much going on, and I love that requires so much attention.
For a 3-second shot of just him at a wedding with his wife and a swing dancer, just to cut back to him.
There's a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'm only a minute into this. There's another minute. What happens for the next minute?
Oh, keep watching, so. There's only a minute left. It gets funnier. I think if that show once a season has a sketch like that out of like 4 or 5 episodes, it just justifies the entire run. And it's had a couple of them, I think. But that is the standout, I think, from that season.
That's amazing. What season is that? That's
Season 3,
episode 2.
Yeah.
It's the most recent one, season 4?
No, season 3. It's only had 3 so far, I think.
Season 3, episode 2.
Have you watched all of it, yeah?
I feel like I watched.
Have you watched all of that sketch?
I've finished this sketch now.
Okay.
That's phenomenal.
My life is nothing I thought it would be and everything I feared it would become. Because for 50 seconds I thought there was monsters on the world.
On the world is
On
what
the
he's saying.
world.
On the world. Not in the world. On the world.
They even bring it up as a subtitle. The sketch doesn't have
Yeah.
subtitles, they just bring it up at the end. Because that's real. I've seen that.
I've seen that thing. I'm not a fucking idiot. I know that was...
But I haven't got much sleep. Because the swing dancer flipped my wife at a wedding. And it really bothered me. He must have flipped my wife 8 times. So go watch the Darmine Doggy Door sketch.
Go watch the Darmine Doggy Door sketch. Is that the cover image for this week's episode? Happy Halloween?
I think it has to be. Did you see
I think so.
Evan was
Or is it just my face seeing it? How did we get to Darmine Doggy Door?
I don't know. I think I
We
think
were
it just
talking
popped into
30
my head
Rock.
again, and I think I was talking about how much 30 Rock made me laugh. I was thinking about how much other things have made me laugh, and that's probably...
There's stuff in 30 Rock, and like I think about The Office as well, where I'm just like, wow, that's funny. Or like it's dark,
Mhm.
you know, and you wonder would they do. Anytime somebody's like, oh, they wouldn't do that now, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we can find some fucking edgy
yeah.
comedy show that's doing whatever you
Absolutely.
think is undoable is being done
People
somewhere.
just want to create a sense that, you know, things are simultaneously become too conservative and restrictive, but also that we've lost all our morals and values altogether. And it's like, well, which is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we completely
Somebody- I saw
moralist,
somebody going-
or have we, you know, become too restrictive? And the answer is, it's fucking neither. It's just culture war bullshit.
Yeah. So people saying, oh, you couldn't do the violence that Tarantino does in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's like, there are absolutely people doing violent. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What isn't?
Yeah, the film didn't come out
Fuck
that
are you
long
talking
ago.
about? Yeah. There's a moment
It's a
in
current
The
film.
Office where Mindy Kaling is talking about, like, I think it's a gift Kobe Bryant gave to somebody, and he's like, if he gave me that, I'd let that guy do anything, you know?
Mhm.
And then she goes, I don't think he raped her. I mean, maybe he raped her. I don't think he raped her. And it's like, all right, that story was going on in the world, you know? And like, it was watching that now, given how much that guy's been, like, sanctified
Mhm. Yeah.
posthumously, you know, like, it's funny the degree to which a lot of stuff gets sanded off of people's reputations.
It's very hard to actually cancel someone.
I'll still listen to Billie Jean.
Do you know what? I was never a huge fan of that song. I much prefer something like
I wish
Another
I'd
Part of
chosen
Me.
a different song.
You know,
Another Part of Me?
Yeah.
I did say that. I don't know that song. Is that Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. It's a great song.
Okay.
Do 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 do. We're taking over. We had a truth. This is our message. We're bringing you. Don't point the finger. Not dangerous. This is our planet. You're one of us. We're sending out
Any
a major
any
love.
Halloween plans in your
This
future?
is
Anything you
our
want to do
Message
in
to
Cork?
you, message to you.
Gigs,
Planets are
shows?
lighting up. We're bringing brighter days. They're all online, waiting for you. Come true. You're just another part
I'm looking
of
at.
me.
I do know that. Yeah,
There you go.
I do know that. Yeah, you got me. I had to get all the way to the end, and as a result, that now all needs to stay in.
It has to stay in, of course it does. I would have sang it better, but my cough.
I don't know. I've been looking at stuff to do for like the Halloween end of things, like the Bram Stoker festival's happening. There's comedy and there's like theater and tour stuff happening in Dublin. That's good fun. We have a Bag of Cats show on the 27th in Dublin Inc., which is going to be fun. Looking at cinema stuff, like this will be a bit later, but like there was like To Live and Die in LA was screening, but I haven't seen that. But I can't get to that fucking screening. Do you know that movie? William Friedkin?
Mm-hmm.
Cop movie. That came up because I just saw the trailer for the Kane Mutiny Trial, I think is the name of the movie. Like it's William Friedkin's last feature. I think it's a direct-to-Hulu thing. It's got Kiefer Sutherland and Lance Reddick in it.
R.I.P.
And that's a good pedigree of people involved. It's based on a book, and I saw it a few times with my dad. I barely remember it, but I saw it a few times with my dad as a Humphrey Bogart film from the 50s. So it's interesting that it's coming around again, and it's got that pedigree, and it's coming out soon. So that's one to keep an eye out for if you like cinematic pedigree. It's interesting that it's direct to Hulu. The amount of stuff that's lost through like direct stream drops, you know. Stuff gets missed. There's I think a Spanish film called El Conde, which I want to watch.
That's on Netflix.
That's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. That's a vampire film.
Very clever poster. It's a great poster. Have you seen it?
Ooh. I've seen the poster, but I can't remember. I've seen various promotional images. I don't know if I saw the one you're talking about. Let me put it that way.
Let me just look up I know their Instagram username, but I don't know their name. I'm just gonna double check it. Akiko Sterenberger is their actual name, and they do great.
Is it the floating guy one or the one with the?
It's the one. It's the one with the like, kind of like military general hat, but it's also a bat. Can you see that? It's a great idea.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yeah,
that took me a minute to see. That's so good.
It's so good. Great idea.
Shit. Oh, it's Italian. Is it? It's Italian? I think I said Spanish.
No, I think you're right. Actually, I'm not sure. It's directed by Pablo Larraín.
Chilean dictator.
It's one of those art house.
Is it Chilean?
Transcontinental productions.
Co-productions.
Pablo Larraín is Chilean, so.
And it's about a Chilean dictator.
Mm-hmm.
It was released in Chile. I guess it must be Chilean. Holy crap! Country Chile. Okay, language Spanish. Yeah, there's a Chilean film coming out called El Conde.
I think it's already out. It's on Netflix.
El Conde,
already out.
Which feeds into my idea that once it's dropped, you miss that it happened. Okay, well look, we've chitted, we've chatted. There's stuff coming up.
I started watching The Boys spin-off.
Oh yeah, Kev was interested in that.
Feels very much like they said, "Hey, we need another show during seasons of The Boys because it's the biggest thing we have. Why don't we do a X-Men spin-off, but set in the world of The Boys?" So it's about a bunch of teens with superpowers. It's not exactly X-Men, but it's based in a school, and obviously, being that it's set in the world of The Boys, everything's terrible. It did feel a bit like it starts off showing somebody's tragic powers, or the tragic event of their powers kind of manifesting, and I
hate that. I don't want the tragic. I
don't want it. Not even the tragedy of it. It just felt very much like The Boys trying to be as shocking, and it's just like, I've seen this before. You just kind of. I get the point as well. It's to let an audience know this is the same show. It's just some different characters, but it also just felt a bit. It felt like they're going back to the well for the same stuff a bit, but it's not bad. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
It just does. I don't know if it's a case of there's only so much cynicism you can take, or is it a case of it just feels more like the same show? Is it just a bit oversaturated? And I'm not sure. It isn't bad. Like, I am watching it, but the very first episode, I was just like, it felt like it was a lot of familiar territory, But if you're looking for something to fill your boy hole until The Boys comes out, then I said what I said.
I hear you.
So there's that.
I hear you.
I've been kind of background watching The Continental. Didn't really want to watch it. The action scenes.
That was going to be my next question.
The action scenes are decent, to be fair. The episodes are, I think the pilot is 80 minutes long, I think. I don't know if the second episode is equally long.
First.
But the action, to be fair, does hold up. And I mean, that's the main reason to watch a John Wick spin-off. I haven't seen John Wick 4. I did try to watch 3 and I tuned out. So, and I thought 2...
4 became incessant.
Yeah, I thought 2 was pretty terrible. So John Wick really hadn't held my attention beyond the first film. So, you know, I'm not really tuned into The Boys that much. It's weird to see Mel Gibson. You forget what a fucking big deal he was. You know,
he was huge.
He was huge. It's
Hell
weird.
Mel.
Nobody can be cancelled. You know. Yeah. I started watching Castlevania a bit, but I wasn't giving it attention, so I'll go back and watch it. Is it me, or is the production value kind of higher than like the first season of Castlevania? Is it?
Okay.
Or is it lower?
I was going the other way.
I think it's definitely higher than the first season of Castlevania. Maybe. I'm not sure.
So my reaction was, I feel like I had a innate fear of change thing, and it was like, I don't like this, and I was like, maybe I'm just being a curmudgeon. So I'm watching on. The line work seems thicker.
Okay.
Which I feel is a thing that's I think of as more rougher or
Cora did that thing. One season and I hated it. It's like it got like the line was 3 times as thick in certain scenes. I was like, is this a stylistic thing? Why are they doing this? It was odd.
And that's what I'm trying to sort of
it really
I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt to go.
Yeah. Makes it look like a cutout.
It makes it feel like a drawing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take it on its merit and go, new season, new art style. It's a little bit of a shift. I think there's a lot more gradient work. I need to double check this, but my instinct watching it, I don't know. Maybe I need to just go and fucking confirm this before I open my mouth.
Nah.
But I feel like there's more burnt in texture work and soft airbrush type of things, or ruddy cheeks and little color on the lips and stuff in the costumes that's sort of baked in, which means that stuff needs to be mapped correctly as it moves, which means your instinct is to move less, which means there's less drawings, which means it's a little jumpier. Am I right? I don't know. Yeah. There's a couple of shots of the lead character, Richter Belmont, I think it is. Richter. He turns his head at one point, and I'm like, why did that? I feel like that was one drawing rather than 3.
Because I've noted, I'm always surprised when I see the line work and the line tests of the animation, and it looks stunning. And in the finished episode doesn't look as good as you lose a lot of energy on cleanup. Oh yeah, no, but really it just looks like a higher production value, and then it looks kind of rushed to finish.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a few seasons, especially when it's going for a Vampire Hunter D aesthetic, and it's falling short in a lot of the time, you know.
I also feel, looking at it, that as Powerhouse has grown with the success of Castlevania, you move old hands onto different projects and you bring in a bunch of junior people or newer people. And I often think that you might have assembled your A-list and now you've got people that can do it.
It's still better than Invincible though, let's be honest. Come on.
Sure. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just going to go, yeah, sure. Yeah. I haven't watched Invincible in the same way that I've watched Castlevania over the years.
A book that I would have told you about, I definitely would have shown you stuff back in IADT. It's by Osamu Tezuka, the guy who created Astro Boy. It's a book called Phoenix. and the first book sort of starts at the end of the timeline, and then each book, the next book starts at like the beginning of the timeline. So it jumps from like the beginning and the end of a timeline, and then each subsequent issue is jumping at these points. Yeah, and it's amazing. It's this. I don't know if it was ever fully finished or if it isn't available in publication, but I have the first book, and the first book itself is quite self-contained, and it's amazing. It's kind of sci-fi epic set across like centuries in the future. Do you remember it? Do you remember me showing you any of it?
I don't.
No.
I don't.
I was looking for it recently. I couldn't find it, but I saw on Disney Plus. There's a show called Eden 117 or something, and then the subtitle is Phoenix, and then I kind of realized, shit, it's an adaptation of it. It's 4 episodes, I think. They're about 30 minutes each, maybe, and it's animated by Studio 4 Degrees, who did stuff in the Animatrix and Tech on Concrete, and it's gorgeous. It's really nice. It's a really nice adaptation of the Phoenix story.
Cool.
The comic is... I found the comic deeply affecting. It's kind of about existence and purpose and things like that.
So it's called Eden 117?
I think it's Eden 117. If you just look up Phoenix, because it's based on the manga was called Phoenix. The show, if you search Phoenix on Disney Plus, it should come up. But it's beautiful. Really...
Eden 17?
Eden 17, is it? Really nice update of Tezuka's. You know, his designs were kind of in the 50s, kind of old school stuff, but really nice update of his designs. 26 minutes, 19 minutes, and 30 minutes. I really enjoyed it, especially because I'd read the first book, so it's a very nice story. Check that out. Beautiful production values on it as well.
I just saw the art for the cover on it, and it reminded me of... I went to the manga museum in Tokyo, and they have this giant phoenix on the wall. Big wooden...
Is it Phoenix from Phoenix?
I don't know. It looks color-wise similar. I'm going to pop it into Skype here. You can tell me.
Yep, that's it.
That looks like it, doesn't it?
That's it, yep.
Yeah, that is a big boy. Cool. I have context for the Phoenix I saw in 2015. That's a great shout. That's a good recommendation. I will try and give it a watch.
I think it's got a really good story, but even just for, anime. We won't get into it now, but did you watch Bloodlust?
Sorry, you were asking me about Bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
Yes.
You haven't watched it yet.
What of it? I don't know it. No.
Vampire Hunter D. Bloodlust. Subtitle is Bloodlust.
Is that the link you gave me?
Yeah, YouTube.
To YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It just says Vampire Hunter D. I didn't see the Bloodlust associated with it.
We'll discuss it for Halloween.
Vampire Hunter D. Let's discuss it for Halloween. So this gets a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes from both critics and audience members. It's a 1985-86 Toho production.
No.
No?
No. You're looking at the wrong one.
No?
There's Vampire Hunter D, which came out in 1985, and then Kawajiri directed one in 20 years ago, maybe, called Bloodlust.
Okay.
And
okay. So I'm just going off the link that you threw into WhatsApp.
That's the wrong link.
And that's the link I watched. And that is directed by Toyo Ashida, produced by Hiroshi Kato.
That's
release date December 21, 1985.
What? Did you watch all this?
I watched all of it last night.
Don't watch that.
Struggling.
Don't watch that.
Struggling.
No. How did the wrong one get in there? Oh, fuck's sake.
You didn't give any other context beyond that link and for Halloween, and we went, yep.
When I sent that link, I was literally watching it. How did the wrong one come up?
I have no idea.
Okay, don't. God damn it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Can we discuss it?
Let's discuss.
Do you want to offer me an apology?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I don't know how that got in there because
that is
not what I watched.
Okay.
I sent that when I was watching it myself. How did
Okay. This is the full movie on YouTube. Oh.
That is not what you were supposed to watch. Hang on, I'm gonna find the
Yeah,
right
you
name.
dropped the mic there.
That is not what you were supposed to watch. I'm gonna see if I can find the.
Okay.
How did?
Because I was watching this going, okay, I'll wait for you to...
Give me 1 second to
solve
send
it.
the right one.
Yeah, 100%. So, for the listener, it is a dark future world. Let me just find the how it's described. It's very specific. This story takes place in the distant future when mutants and demons slither through a world of darkness. So it's a future world with vampires and werewolves and ghosties and hell demons. A small town is troubled by a vampire called Magnus Lee and his coterie of like his daughter, vampire daughter, and this other what do you call him? Assailant. Doris is the daughter of a werewolf hunter, and she is out hunting some sort of animal at the start, and she thinks she kills it. She summons her horse called Luke, which is a very loyal horse that comes to her very quickly and helpfully, and helps her hunt down the monster, takes its head clean off. But oh no, it's not really dead, and it bites Luke, and poor old Luke gets slaughtered. Poor old Luke gets slaughtered. And then a werewolf steals Luke's body, and she's like, "Ah, a werewolf!" And then Magnus Lee appears and chastises her for being on his grounds, because the Count Magnus Lee has, I guess, grounds of a palatial manor. And he then proceeds to bite her neck, and she is now halfway towards becoming a vampire, and she needs help to slay the vampire in order to save herself. And yeah, I guess I'll wait for Brian to come back to me here now, and we'll continue the old chats. Is that point that D shows up? Vampire Hunter D.
Okay, I watched it in English on YouTube when I sent that link, and that version has been taken. I don't know how I ended up sending.
Do you remember when you saw this film then? It feels like you must have seen it when you were way younger.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you sat down and watched this recently.
No. Yeah, I would have seen it when I was 12, 13, maybe thereabouts, that kind of age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Held your attention?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like back then,
at that age,
it was cool.
Yeah.
It hasn't aged well.
Not at all. It is ropey.
Yeah.
I was watching this going, as time moves on, you're just like, this is a bad student film. Like, it's a bad student film. Like, I've seen good student films.
When you compare it to animation that came out at the time,
sure,
it was quite different.
It's probably on par.
Yeah, particularly when you obviously Disney was on another level because they were producing stuff that was, the budgets weren't comparable at all. So for the scope of the budget and things like that, it was cool because there wasn't adult animation like that back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was very cool then. I wouldn't recommend people watching it now unless they love anime and they want to see like old school kind of stuff. Bloodlust, however, is a
I'm skipping through Bloodlust, and I'm seeing a lot of the same, I'm seeing the same characters.
Yeah.
Very much. Is it a direct remake?
Nope, different storyline.
It's different story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing a lot of the same beasties.
Mm-hmm.
And even the witch woman.
Yeah.
There looks similar, and the guy who has the like boomerang sword he throws and bends space around. So, do you remember the sanguine moon moment? Which is the fact that the blood moon happens on a monthly basis, and that the vampire won't feed on her that night because the blood moon turns a woman's blood unpalatable. That's silly. For some reason, she gets naked towards the end. There's a lot of like domestic living room stuff.
Because it's a Japanese cartoon.
There's a lot of like
What are you talking about?
domestic stuff for something so elaborate as well. Like seeing him walking in, just sort of gently closing the front door in a living room is a bit
Odd.
It's just odd, yeah. It's like seeing superhero just put their feet up on the couch. Like it's that sort of dissonance of imagery. You know, these people are supposed to be actively dynamic at all times.
Well, I can't wait for you to watch Bloodlust now. Watch it before it gets taken down, I guess.
Then trying to give Vampire Hunter D any credit or a review or comment on it, like
There's cool ideas in there, which are stuff from the books, and it's cool to see ideas from the book brought to life in that way. But it has aged considerably.
so poorly.
And it's great to see. I remember the cover art for that VHS, and even at that age, watching it and going, "This doesn't look like the VHS." I feel cheated. It's cool then to see Bloodlust doing just because so it's based on a series of books. I think there might be like 20, 30 books, by the writer Kikuchi. I can't remember their name. Hideyuki Kikuchi. I'm not sure. I should remember that.
Do you want me to look it up?
They wrote a bunch of books, and the Yoshitaka Amano has been the artist who you're probably familiar with. He's done all the Final Fantasy illustrations. He did some Wolverine and Elektra stuff for Marvel.
Gorgeous.
Did Sandman stuff. Amazing artist. They did the illustrations for D, I think since the books were coming out. So it's cool to see.
Hideyuki Kikuchi.
Okay.
Hideyuki?
Hideyuki. Did I get that right?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah, so it's cool to see, some 20 odd years later, 20 years ago now probably, that someone said, let's do justice to those illustrations. And there's lots of cool stuff in Bloodlust. Bloodlust is great. You know what? The first time I watched it, didn't really vibe with me, and I'm not sure why. It took me a while I think I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times, and I couldn't watch it. I think at the time I was probably working nights as well, so I was coming home, putting it on and falling asleep, and waking up at the end, which is always weird, because it was filtering into my post-work nap, and it's got a strange vibe, which I guess was kind of off-putting. But when I eventually did watch it, I was very, very impressed. It's gorgeous production values, cool imagery, really nice story. It's really, really romantic, gothic stuff. It's very cool. I'm a big fan. I'm probably overselling it.
Comparison, yeah. By comparison, the first one it's just 1980s animation. Like I can't be that cruel to it. I was just watching it going, this is one still image, and they are barely moving a mouth between 2 images to get some lip sync going. It's just...
I'm sorry you watched it.
No, I mean, I've made you watch things. I've suggested you watch things that you haven't wanted to watch previously, so turnabout is fair play. I mean, especially at Halloween, it's when you get me to watch spooky things, so I'm just glad it wasn't a Hereditary or a Suspiria.
Speaking of, I heard of a film that I think we should watch. I heard it's a good horror film. Came out last year. I think called Talk to Me, I think it's called.
Yes, I saw the trailer for that, and I do think that looks good.
It's an Australian horror film. We should watch that for Halloween also, probably. Yeah, I've heard it's good.
So I'll say, just to give you a gap, you nominated Vampire Hunter D. I have watched it. I don't know if Kevin watched it, but Kev nominated a film last week that he wants to watch and talk about, which is The Reanimator from mid-80s.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that. Has he seen it?
I've never seen it. I don't think he's seen it. So that's next up.
Cool.
Depending on people's timelines, I'll try and watch Talk to Me as well this week. But The Reanimator is next up. And that's for the listener as well. We're going to be talking
join us
about The Reanimator.
And watch Bloodlust as well. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Vampire Hunter D. Bloodlust. Because that was the thing I was watching this last night thinking, from tiny seeds do mighty oak trees grow. I was just like, this has to have touched a vein with people that have grown this into something, because I'm aware of this. I'm aware of the imagery. I'm aware that there are multiple films after it. Like it is pop culturally relevant, or I don't know, anime zeitgeisty over the years. But I was watching this going like, this is...
It's the books and the illustrations first, really. And
the
Kawajiri
there's something
film,
here that captures the imagination.
The Kawajiri film from 20 years ago is the one that, the one that it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we deserve.
Yeah. The one from nigh on 40 years ago, not so good.
Skip it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything, like, what to comment on. They're definitely trying to do stuff with, like, there's cloud, like, rapid movement cloud stuff as the vampire's castle descends and is destroyed, and I think they're like rotoscoping sort of Koyaanisqatsi type of footage, like that fast moving cloud stuff. I don't know if Koyaanisqatsi was mid-80s, I can't remember offhand, but they've definitely
80s,
got that sort of footage.
Possibly 87 as well, maybe. Was it?
I think this was before it, so I think they were using different footage. But like, I can see them doing things. They're trying things. There's definitely like a Shane thing as they wave goodbye. But it's definitely, there's so much reuse. There's so little movement. They're letting music do a lot of the work and sound. And coupling that with watching New Castlevania as well, like I see the same thing happening here, where like you're really hoping that we care that this drawing is this intricately rendered, and
which is something that
getting away with that,
anime
sometimes
does
you don't.
very well.
Yeah,
usually.
Yeah,
there's even shots in, and it's a big part of Kawajiri style, but there's a few shots in Bloodlust, for example, where it's a close up of Dee holding a sword as they're on a carriage that's passing underground and there's lights going over, and it's holding on that shot, and a lot of the animation is just the light passing over his sword and his face, and it holds on it, and it's kind of saving. On the one hand, it's kind of saving some resources, but it's also so intricately rendered that it's not cheap either, But
there's a scene in, I think it's episode 3 of Castlevania, where a character is like running through grass and through a field, and having just watched Bloodlust last night, not Bloodlust, Vampire Hunter D last night, like the whole opening section is that. I'm just like, is this vampire show referencing that vampire show? But like,
it definitely is.
It definitely is. I don't know if it's referencing that or the Bloodlust version, though.
Castlevania is heavily inspired by Bloodlust. It's very much, somebody said, there's decades of a video game series here that hasn't gotten the Bloodlust anime treatment, and why not? Someone should, and they did, or they attempt to.
I think I have to get a trial version of TV Paint and teach myself to use it. Because I see jobs for hand-drawn animators, and it's just like, should know TV Paint. And it's like, I don't know TV Paint, and I've done so much hand-drawn animation in
You'd pick it up
Photoshop
fast as
and
well,
in
presumably.
Animate and Flash, and I've done so much hand-drawn animation stuff digitally, but I just don't know the workflow of that particular piece of software. And I don't know, can I apply for Castlevania season fucking whatever?
Yeah.
So much of my fucking shortfall is just, I don't have a portfolio that suits the jobs I'm applying for. I'm too fucking tired to make it. Just give me the job for the thing I can do.
Just let me work.
Because I know I can do it. And once I start doing it, I'll have the fucking show reel. I'm so grumpy. I'm so grumpy. Yeah. So grumpy.
At least you're not dead
All right.
inside. I don't want to be around anymore.
Gee,
I don't know.
you mean you don't want to...
Let's just end it there.